Integrative oncology is that aspect of oncology that is concerned with the totality of factors that are important both in the prevention and the treatment of cancer. And those include conventional forms of therapy, everything from chemotherapy to radiation therapy, to bone marrow transplants, to monoclonal antibodies, to targeted therapies, all those things. It's also very concerned with screening and early detection, and it's also concerned with all the nutritional factors that we know are important not only for preventing cancer and associated with risk reduction of cancer, but also in the treatment of cancer. And it's very important for people to be concerned about their immune systems and their detoxification systems. So both those are part of integrative oncology as well. And there are two scientific branches that are very important now to integrative oncology. One is called nutritional genomics. Nutritional genomics is the interaction of nutrients with the genes that can turn on or off cancer, with the genes that are responsible for the production of our detoxifying enzymes. Those are our first line of defense against many of the environmental toxins we're all exposed to in the air, in our food, in our water, those type of things. And also there's a field called toxicogenomics. Toxicogenomics is how all the different toxins in the environment, from dioxin to DDT to DDE to PCBs, many of the things that are held in our body for decades in fatty tissue, many of these affect our DNA as well. And so they're almost competing scientific realms where nutritional genomics is looking at what can be done to benefit our health, and the toxicogenomics looking at all the things that we know compromise our health. And so all these are very important. The other big part of integrative oncology is stress reduction, because we know there are two really new fields that are incorporated into integrative oncology. One is called psychoneuroimmunology. The other is called neurocardiology. Psychoneuroimmunology is the study of how stress, depression, pessimism, all those negative emotions literally depress every aspect of our immune system. There was a fascinating study out of Ohio State several years ago, published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute. And what that study did was look at women who were recovering from breast cancer surgery. They found that women with the most depression and stress had the most profound suppression of the very part of their immune systems that we know is very responsible for preventing a recurrence of the cancer. So we know equally that positive emotions, optimism, peacefulness, those type of emotions upregulate every aspect of the immune system. So it's very important both for prevention and even if you have the disease to look at how stress affects you, how old traumas and patterns affect you. So that's a very, very important part of neurocardiology. The other point that I'll just get back to that I mentioned is neurocardiology. Neurocardiology is about the link between the brain and the heart. And there's all these neurologic pathways between our brains and our heart. And the reason that's important is when we're stressed, one of the first things that happens is our breathing changes. It becomes very shallow. Second thing that happens is our heart rhythms in what's known as heart rate variability. So it's not your heart rate per se, but how much your heart rate is changing second to second, minute to minute. Your heart rate variability increases. It's high when you're under stress. So your breathing becomes shallow, your heart rate variability increases. That sends signals to the brain that then put the brainwave in a corresponding type of pattern, and the whole stress response starts. Your cortisol level goes up, your ACTH level goes up. That induces cortisol. We know that depresses the immune system. It interferes with your digestion, increases your heart rate, increases your blood pressure. By the same token, when you're very relaxed, if you're doing meditation, guided imagery, qigong, any type of meditative practice, yoga, all those kinds of things, they actually will decrease heart rate variability. So it's the opposite of the stress response. It's the relaxation response. There's a lot of data showing how that will increase every aspect of the immune system. So I wrote a book in 2001 called The Healing Power of Sound, where I talked about how every spiritual practice on earth from the beginning of time has used music and sound and breathing and chanting, those types of things. And it doesn't matter what the practice is. They could be the Sanskrit chants from yoga. They could be chants from the Kabbalah. They could be Gregorian chants that are sung at Vespers. They could be Native American healing chants, Tibetan Buddhist chants. They all have the same fundamental tones and rhythms. And they all induce the relaxation response in part by causing your breathing to be more full, your oxygenation to be better, your heart rate variability to slow, and that corresponds with the induction of what are known as alpha and theta and delta waves in the brain. Those are the most relaxed brainwave patterns. When you're in those patterns, your brain releases a different set of chemicals throughout your body. So what happens? Your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down, your cortisol level goes down, your immune function goes up. So there's a lot of data to support, even though many things like yoga are thousands and thousands of years old, we're just now coming to a real understanding of how profound physiologically these things are. So integrative oncology is really a basket that holds all these different modalities from the best of Western science to really the most esoteric of Eastern practices.